We're breaking down the top free agent targets for the Dallas Cowboys on today's show. The Cowboys, simply put, have too many needs to fill in just the NFL draft. And although they are tight on cap space right now, they can easily free up way more than enough to actually be active in the open market for once. Think about all this team's needs. You need multiple defensive linemen, 1 or 2 backs if you lose Rico, a number 2 receiver, cornerback starters, Diggs injured, Jordan Lewis is a free agent, offensive line, 3 of your best passers are free agent, linebacker, you don't have DeMarvion Overshown, safety, backup QB, tight end, all things that you need. Now, if you want the Cowboys to be active in NFL free agency, then like the video. We will bully the Jones boys into being more active. Show your support by liking today's video right now. Now, here are some players who I think are probably going to be too. There are probably more names in general, but notable ones. You're not getting T. Higgins. Trey Smith ain't coming. DJ Reed's going to be too pricey. Offensive lineman like Ronnie Stanley would be great, but he's going to be too expensive. Probably he'll be a guaranteed starter somewhere. I love Javon Holland, but even after a down year, probably too much money. Same with Chris Godwin and Khalil Mack and Josh Sweat. But you can still find players who can fit the Cowboys' price range and or if they want to spend just a little bit more money. Let's begin on the defensive line. In particular, if you end up losing Osa Odighizuwa, I think Javon Kinlaw really stands out as a logical fit for the Dallas Cowboys. Aaron Whitecott is your new defensive tackles coach. He coached Kinlaw with the Jets, where he had his best season in recent memory. He was a raw developmental defensive lineman. He's showing progress and growth. His lanky, long frame fits what Eberflus has liked in the past. If you miss out on Osa, I like Kinlaw quite a bit. Other names here, and we'll go quick on a lot of these to not have it be such a 45-minute show. B.J. Hill of the Bengals, who they got a great trade with the Jets a couple years ago, giving up Billy Price, isn't an elite sack producer, but can mostly hold up against the run from a 3 technique spot, not so much when asked to play nose guard, is a cheaper option if you need to replace Osa. Levi Onwuzurike from the Lions is next up here. This is a guy that hasn't played a lot and it got some more playing time this year amid injuries. Again, can do a good job stopping the run. The 2022 back injury will raise red flags. Got to vet that, got to confirm that. But massive uptick in quarterback hits and pressures this year. Far better in 2024. Again, shouldn't be overly expensive. You want a nose guard? I asked for this 2 years ago. I'm asking for it again. Bring me Poona Ford in free agency. He wasn't as good in 2023 with the Bills. He was way better, back to his previous form with the LA Chargers. I don't want to rely on just having Mozzie Smith as my nose guard. I want to get another one in there. How about DJ Jones, Denver Broncos defense line? Another guy we've discussed in previous years who is now, again, going to be a free agent. Niners background, too, has some overlap a little bit briefly there with Aaron Whitecott, by the way. His numbers have declined. I don't think he was always asked and put in the best spot this past year in Denver. I think you can get him on the cheap and hope for a better version of the guy we saw more in 2021. Let's get to another big boy on the middle, Bobby Brown III out of L.A., former Texas A&M product there. Had his best year ever. Again, he's not going to be a sack guy, but he's a TFL guy. He can be a run stopper, can eat up double teams. You need that in Flus's defense. And I won't go too heavy on, players tied to Matt Eberflus. We'll do that more on the defensive specific version of this video. But Byron Cowart does stand out to me. Had his best year ever with Matt Eberflus. Probably shouldn't be overlooked. New regime in Chicago. And wouldn't be very expensive either. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys spending in NFL free agency? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end or 10 on the high end. Go vote the pinned comment of today's show. Let's put a bonus player on here too. That is Javon Hargrave. He doesn't technically count in the 25 because he is not a free agent yet. He is expected to be released by the 49ers. That is the expectation. He has been really good over the course of his career from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia to 2023. The Niners went healthy. If and when he's cut, he goes near the top of my list. All right, to the offensive line now. How about Will Hernandez, who you may have heard gave a lot of high praise to new Cowboys OC Clayton Adams. Coming off an injury, he played really well before the injury and was pretty solid the year before that. He could be a cheaper starting caliber option for you at right guard. Another maybe bigger name, but not as expensive as like a Trey Smith, is Mekhi Becton. And the Eagles got him cheap because he was a bust in New York. Go figure, changing your attitude and working with Jeff Stoutland and good things happen. Significantly better play out of Mekhi Becton this year. Probably made himself some pretty nice money this past season. Then there's James Daniels. Again, this is cheaper because he's coming off a torn Achilles, which is a red flag. I do acknowledge that. But he played a lot of right guard this past year. Was really good before he got here. He was playing awesome. He has center experience too. Between, Tyler Smith and Brock Hoffman and Cooper Beebe, and if you add like a James Daniels, I think you are set on the interior of your offensive line. I'm not looking at tackles for the time being because they're all too expensive, the good ones. If you cut Terrence Steele, we can revisit this. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So that way you can just do 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, whatever. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. To the receivers, Stephon Diggs, the rumors, they've already been here, are going to stay here. This is a player heavily tied to Dallas. His brother's here, and Diggs is now more affordable than ever. He's coming off an injury-plagued season. He was solid when he was healthy, but now he's hurt. He's been a bit of a journeyman now. He's played for the Vikings, Bills, Texans. A 1-year deal with Dallas wouldn't be a surprise. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins, who wanted to be a Cowboy. The Cowboys said no. They wanted to go get Brandon Cooks. He is now coming off what was a down year in Houston/Tennessee. Is worth acknowledging as well. Still has been a 1,000-yard guy for the most part when healthy, but he's missed a lot of time. His value is also lower, but he fits that archetype as an outside receiver for you. Marquise Brown is a different player than the first 3 names mentioned. That is a speedy vertical. Again, was banged up this year. Didn't play a lot. Struggled in Arizona. Had 1,000 yards in Baltimore. I'm picking guys with some issues because you're not going to get T. Higgins. We know that. Now, if you missed some of those bigger names, I think Darius Slayton is an intriguing option. That is an outside vertical threat. You don't really have that. Slayton, as a go ball receiver, has put up 700-plus yards before with shaky at best quarterback play, shaky at best QB play. I think that fits there. And then a potential reunion with Amari Cooper. I wonder if those bridges have been burnt or not. But again, he's cheaper than ever. Amari, frankly, wasn't that great this year. He had drop issues again. Part of that was in Cleveland. He kind of was inconsistent in Buffalo. But now's a chance where you could actually bring him back on the cheap. And I think it would fit with what Shadi wants to do. So would you bring back Amari Cooper? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Now, there are names on this list that will probably be too expensive once they actually get paid. And Travarius Ward might be one of those guys. Because of the unfortunate tragedy that Ward suffered off the field this year with the loss of his daughter. Ward, I don't know if he wants to go back to San Francisco. He's kind of hinted at that. When he's played, he's been awesome. So if he wants to come back to Dallas, I have interest, but I just wonder what the money's going to be like. Stephon Gilmore fits what you need right now. Now, he didn't get a lot of interest last year. He had to wait for a while to sign with somebody. That'll probably happen again. And if he's okay being a stopgap starter while Trayvon Diggs gets healthy, this reunion makes sense. I think he fits even if it's a scheme enough too. Then a buy low name, Jonathan Jones. Wasn't that great with the Patriots this year. Kind of took a step back, frankly. I'd seen better play out of him in the past. That 2022 season was awesome. But he kind of lost his job to an extent. But if you can get a buy low option at corner, which I do worry about because if a corner leaves Bill Belichick and struggles, history says he's just not very good. But I think you could gamble on this one still as a buy low option. A lot of names you can put in here. Name a free agent who you want the Cowboys to sign. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Let's hit running backs here as well. Aaron Jones. It is not a great back class. He's probably one of the better ones, so would have loved to have signed last year. Ended up going to Minnesota for more money. Had 1,000 yards, 7 total scores, still got 4.5 yards per carry. I don't know how much more he truly has left in the tank. I think he is getting up there in age. Might only be a one-year deal, but I think he'd be a great one-year stopgap for you. The other big name you'll see mentioned is Najee Harris. And, that's fine if you want to go at him. I think you need an explosive back to pair with him. Because Najee Harris, he is who he is. He's a 4-yard per carry back. That hasn't changed. That's who he has been almost every year of his career. That's fine, but why not aim for higher? J.K. Dobbins is next up here. And we mentioned him a lot this past offseason. Would like to try that one there. Almost 1,000 yards in only 13 games. Looked a lot more like the Ravens' explosive runner we saw in the past. The injuries still mean he probably won't be very expensive. But there is a lack of options in the free agent market at running back. That'll push the market up. The deep draft class will push things down as well. So I'm curious what the price tag looks like for J.K. and Dobbins and all these other backs. Now, if you want just an offensive-focused and just a defensive-focused list of free agents, show it by subscribing. We'll do that in the future. All right, free agent targets here. I wanted to put Trayvon Merrick on here, but I'm not going to get my own hopes up for that one. Dre Greenlaw might be too expensive. Only played 2 games last year, though. That was it. He's coming off the injury. Probably wants to stay in San Francisco, frankly. But if I can pull him away, I've always been a big fan of his game. I think it'd be a great pickup. Nick Bolton from the Chiefs. I do wonder if he's a good enough fit with what Eberflus likes to do at linebacker. But he's good. He's always making plays. He's not great in coverage, but he's a run-stopping machine. And I think you need that guy on this roster, especially with DeMarvin Overshown set to miss time. So Greenlaw and Bolton are the more expensive options. And then there's Robert Spillane, the Raiders linebacker, who is not a household name, is not a superstar caliber player, but I'll give him this. He's just pretty consistently solid. Last couple years, 100-plus tackles, was a good player in Pittsburgh, was a solid player for the Raiders. It's not sexy, it's not splashy, but he's solid. One more name here is Tyrell Dodson, the linebacker from the Dolphins who was with Seattle, got traded. I think fits better as kind of a weak side, run and chase style linebacker. I thought was pretty solid in a limited sample size for Buffalo, and I think still did some good stuff in Miami in particular. So I wouldn't sleep on adding a linebacker in general. I think that you probably want to add a veteran linebacker, which could be Eric Hendricks or outside the organization.